Good morning. It's Kirsten Liebelt. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is Thursday. Housekeeping for today is, excuse me, I will not be live tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 10-ish. This is why I'm behind today. I'll show you this and then we're going to circle back and talk about this, but this is why. Look at what I just made. And then I'll explain it in just a minute, so don't ask. It's really good. Okay. So 10-ish. I won't be live tomorrow. I'll be traveling. And so today I'm going to just kind of let you know, that is a recipe I'm making in the group today. Excuse me. So every month we do a challenge in the Facebook group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And this is our 13th challenge, 13 months in a row. And so today we're going to make a recipe and I'm going to teach you how to do it. And I'm going to talk about this here in just a second. So get into the group if you're not in the group. And if you're on the replay, let me know you're on the replay. I love knowing where people are coming in from. And I always want to shout out my Canadian customers. If you are a customer of mine, I love you so much. I have my own Canadian links separate for you guys. But also too, if you are a Canadian customer and you've ordered from me recently, will you DM me? Because I got something for you. I have something for you if you are from Canada and you have recently purchased from me. Okay. I don't want you guys to miss out. And this is the only way I know how to, it doesn't matter. So, okay. In fact, what was I going to write down? I was going to write down that, in our pantries, we have why are our pantries killing us? Why are our pantries killing us? That's actually the topic of conversation today. And I feel like y'all, this is the stuff that's in my brain and you guys just get to come along for the ride. That's kind of what I'm thinking because I very much seriously, I talk about, when my dad died of type 2 diabetes and he was 63 years old, here he is insulin dependent and he's getting up every morning and he's eating either cornflakes or Rice Krispies or frosted. No, he didn't do frosted flakes because that would have had sugar because the cereal wasn't full of sugar. Grape nuts. Who remembers grape nuts? I'd like to know who remembers that. Raisin Bran, etc. Rice Krispies. Oh my gosh. I mean, honestly, a huge bowl of Rice Krispies with skim milk, right? And for me, because, I wasn't the diabetic in the family, tons of sugar. How much sugar can you get on your Rice Krispies? Who knows what I'm talking about? Oh, I have to do this for TikTok. There we go. Anyway, so, when I was being raised, even though my mother had a home ec degree and she never really taught in it, but she did some substitute teaching. And she did cook a lot from scratch, but the truth is that it really was, even though in processed food started in the 1800s, it really was taking off in, when I was being raised in the 60s, right? It really was getting kind of nailed down. And we were the better Nestle Toll House cookie was made with Crisco and we're going to eat margarine instead of butter and all of this stuff. And I remember, does anybody remember with me the Libby's frozen meals? They would have a pop-up. I wanted them so bad. I would beg and beg and beg for my mom to go to the grocery store and to buy those Libby pop-up frozen meals because you could sit with a TV tray. This is really brilliant marketing, right? Sit with this TV tray and you could make your Libby's whatever. And she would allow it when a babysitter came. It was our special treat for when the babysitter came. And then you would pop up your pretend universe of whatever it was. I don't know if it was whatever it was. And then you'd have all your food. So you'd have this imaginary world in front of you and then all of your food, et cetera, et cetera. And, my mom never went all in on processed food. She would never make, fake potatoes or, there were certain things she wouldn't do. But we were still very much filled with pasta, bread. I'm Italian. And all of the sugars that one could have for sure. A lot of Jell-O going on in my house. A lot of Jell-O. I remember I'll tell you one more story and then I'll tell you what I'm going to tell you. When I was growing up and I was in elementary school, we used to walk to our elementary school, which was, I suppose maybe a 20 minute walk, let's say, because it was in the next neighborhood, whatever. And we would take out of if you could show up to school that day with a box of sugar jello. I mean, of course, your mom's not going to know because you're not going to tell her or ask her about it, but you're going to bring a box of sugar jello because then you can dip your finger in it all day long. That would be the original, whatever that candy is that you dip the stick in and it's powdered sugar. I mean, we did that. I used to have stained fingers in elementary school. Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up today is because I've been in conversation a lot recently with people about food. And then this week in the Facebook group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, this is a lot of what I talk about because I'm the least likely person on the face of the freaking planet to have changed out my foods. I thought it was going to be so hard and so mountainous. I literally didn't start with food. I started with supplements. That's why I talk about supplements all the time. I'm like, by the way, they worked. Hello, Anna. Good to see you. So I better talk about them. Better tell people what worked. And now I've got all these testimonies and it's great. That's the trio, by the way, if you ever want to know about the beginning stages. Stage 1, the trio, 3 supplements. But food for me to trade out, like it was kind of a little bit more of a mental game for me because I was so indoctrinated to love food, right? I'm a foodie and I thought I had to give that up. But these are some of the things that are happening in our society because of all of the processed foods that are literally killing us. Our pantries are literally killing us. And, when we started to shift from, we needed more convenience and we needed more whatever, we definitely, oh, thanks, Anna. She says, my blouse is pretty. You're so sweet, Anna. When we started to make this more of a part of our lives, at the beginning, maybe it was a slow fade. Maybe it was a slow death, right? Because it wasn't all the time. Well, now it's literally all the time. It's just nonstop processed food from the minute we wake up until the minute we go to bed, to the point where a lot of people can't even think in terms of singular foods anymore. So I really love helping people think that way and giving you permission to eat that way. You don't have to eat a certain way or thought process according to. Thank you, Anna, for sharing. I so appreciate that. That really, all the tapping and the sharing helps so much with the algorithm. It's just amazing. But what was I going to say about that? I was just going to say that, oh man, hold on. It's coming back. It was a slow fate, like a slow death. Like at first it wasn't so bad, but then this is where people get tripped up because they're like, I feel like I'm supposed to eat a certain way, or it's supposed to look a certain way, or maybe there are expectations on you. Like it used to be in the old days, meat and potatoes and vegetable, and it had to look a certain way. Now it's kind of like on the other side of it, but yet still there's this thought process of how food should look. And so if we can deconstruct food, we're so much better off. And let me tell you why. So the first thing that is on the list of reasons why our pantries are killing us, and I just, it's like, it's not as hard as you think it is. And that's maybe my message. This is not as hard as you think it is. This isn't rocket science to get away from processed foods, but you do have to be intentional and mindful of it. But number 1, it's obesity and weight gain. So now we can see after all of these years, there is no denying these, and I'm going to tell you that why processed foods have totally messed us up in many, many ways. And maybe you're a recipient of this, just like I was. So obesity, very high in calories, very low in nutrition. That's number 1. Number 2, heart disease. So many trans fats, so many hydrogenated oils. I guess that's trans fat most of the time, right? So many high fructose corn syrup, which literally only your liver can process, unlike glucose. It has to go through your liver. This is why we've got issues. Number 3 is diabetes. I guess that's why we're here, right? This is why we're chatting about it. Diabetes. That was my dad, right? And he did it all. He did the heart disease. He did the kidney dialysis. He was 2 shots a day insulin person, and his life was not very functioning, not very happy. But all the refined carbohydrates and all the added sugars have made a mess out of our metabolic systems. Number 4, digestive issues. So if you are somebody who's like, you are so frustrated with your digestion, you are really, I was talking about this in the group yesterday about, I was showing the digestive enzymes and the pre and probiotic that I take. And because almost everybody seems to be dealing with digestive issues. Well, it's starting with the processed foods that we're eating. Like those foods are really messing up our microbiome. They're messing up our gut. And we just keep eating them because we just don't know how to shift it yet. That's kind of like you have to think about it, right? And the additives and the preservatives in the foods are just off the charts. Like your body can't even recognize so many of the things that we're eating, right? Number 5 is actually cancer, and it's talking about all of the artificial ingredients, the artificial colors, the flavors, the preservatives. You don't want those in your food. You don't want those in your supplementation. You don't want those, period, because they are over time, because this is always over time. It's that slow death, right? Over time, creating really big issues, and cancer is one of them. Number 6 is mental health issues. I don't think people connect this. That's why I was talking about it a little bit. I wanted to make sure I talked about that in the group because you don't maybe understand that if your gut is messed up and you're not doing something about it, more than kefir, more than yogurt, like we need a bigger dose of help with that. And I'd love to know who deals with digestive issues. Who are you if you have IBS, or you just maybe it's IBS and you have leaky gut and whatever, and so maybe there's diarrhea on one side, but there's also constipation on the other, which is really a very challenging piece of the puzzle, because then you're keeping all those toxins in your body all the time and you're not eliminating. And so impacted waste becomes a part of our life. Like we don't even think about it anymore, but it's a really big issue. It can create so many problems. But the mental health issues because of your gut, basically they're talking about nutrient deficiencies. I talk about this a lot. A diet high in processed foods can lead to deficiencies in essential nutrients such as vitamins, minerals, omega-3 fatty acids, which are crucial for brain health. It's so huge. Such a big conversation. And the high sugar intake. Excessive sugar consumption can affect mood, increases the risk of depression, and impair cognitive function. So the next time that we are grabbing for anything that's like, because I'm grain-free, sugar-free, and that's what I teach, because that's the fastest way for you to start to regain your health when it comes to food. Eliminate all grains and all sugars, but it's really doable. And I'm going to show you something that I made this morning. It's cooling right now as I'm talking. It's cooling so that I can touch it and show you. And then I'm going to teach it in the group. And we maybe are not connecting all of the bagels and the Subway sandwiches and the pre-boxed food that we're buying, or the canned soups, the canned cream soups, or the eating out at fast food restaurants all the time, all the highly processed grains, etc. We're not connecting that with our actual mental health. And I was talking to my son last night. He's 35. And I said, it's super interesting. There's this guy, he's on TikTok, actually. I don't know his name or his handle or anything. And he's like maybe 28, something like that. And he actually went carnivore. And so for the last, I don't know, 11 months, maybe, I don't remember his journey right now, he's been doing beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, right? And he said, you cannot talk me out of what I'm doing, because my mental health before I did this, your daughter just turned 35. Look at us, Anna. We're twinning again. That's so funny. That's awesome. But he said, my mental health is stellar. Like, I don't know. I would have never thought this. I didn't know that this was going to be a benefit. I was just pudgy and needed to lose weight. Now he's lost, like, I don't even know, 90 pounds. I hope I'm not getting his numbers wrong. But like I said, I don't remember his name. But his mental health has increased so much because by eating things that do not impair gut function, I mean, honestly, you guys, it just makes me like, I mean, I'm not carnivore, but God bless him, because to be really honest, like for him to recognize that at such a young age, he now has a key for the rest of his life. All right. So number 6 was mental health issues. Number 7 is increased inflammation. So obviously unhealthy fats and sugars, processed foods and high in trans fats and sugars can promote chronic inflammation, which is linked to various chronic diseases, including arthritis, cardiovascular disease, and certain cancers. Like the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of the beginning is what are we eating? And an overconsumption of carbohydrates over a long period of time, creating insulin resistance. And then we also have all of these other issues because of the increased insulin creates increased inflammation. And then we can talk into like autoimmune. I mean, like it goes and it goes and it goes and it doesn't get better. It gets worse. And so to reverse it, right? To turn it back around, we have to stop. We have to fix what got us into the pickle to begin with, right? And that's what he's doing. So he ditched literally everything that got him into the bad shape, and he's eating only the things that got him into a good mental space. And that should be common sense, but it's really hard because we've been so marketed to, we've been so indoctrinated to believe that Cheerios is heart healthy when it is literally the opposite. They should have said, I can't do that because I'll get in trouble. It's not. It's actually a lie. Okay, I'm going to go on. Number 7 was inflammation. Number 8, you're reducing your immune function by eating processed foods all the time. And trust me, ask me if when I started this journey, I ever thought in a bazillion years I was actually going to get rid of processed foods. I don't even have my supplements on me right now. I forgot to grab my little box of supplements. When I started supplementation, because I was not willing to trade out my foods. Ask me if I ever thought in a bazillion years I was going to give up processed food and then talk about it online with strangers. No, I'm Italian. That's not what I was going to do. That's not what I was going to do at all. I was literally going to figure out how to make progress. Like I've gone from a 2X down to a large in my 50s. I was going to figure out how to do that without changing my foods. I was going to be the first one. That's hilarious. Reducing your immune function. So we don't want to be sick. We don't want to have issues. We don't want to be compromised. We don't want to be vulnerable when certain things go around the world. We don't want to be vulnerable. But yet, if we're eating processed foods all the time, we are seriously like messing up with our immune systems. We're compromising our immune system. And then number 9 is addiction and overeating. Now, this is a really big piece. And then there's one more after this. It's a really big piece because I don't think we don't stop to think that how addicted we are, right? So I was a major sugar addict, major. Like in my 30s, raising my kids, it was snack size Snicker bars. And in my 40s, it was Milk Duds and theater popcorn at the same time. But also too, then chips, lots of chips. Trader Joe's salt and pepper. I haven't had those now for years, but oh my stars. Freaking amazing. They have like this garlic jalapeno powder on them or something like that. So they have a little bit of a kick, but those are very addicting foods. And we don't really talk about that as much necessarily. And maybe we don't understand how it's keeping us on the hamster wheel. So processed foods are designed to be hyper palatable. When you eat them, it's like you get like a hit, like a dopamine hit. Hyper palatable, combining sugar, fat, and salt. When you combine these 3 together to create addictive qualities that can lead to overeating and unhealthy food cravings. Tony says, I try and eat a higher diet in protein and veggies. However, carbs are important for brain health and function, but I struggle with finding healthy, non-processed carbs that don't affect my sugar. Any suggestions? Tony, you know what? A lot of things have carbs in them that we don't even know. You could be cooking with onions. Onions have carbs in them. Seafood has carbs in it. There are so many things that you don't have to eat. There are very few things actually that don't have carbs. Like if you're going to eat a pound of ground beef, let's say if you're a carnivore, that doesn't have carbs. But most everything actually does. So I would suggest that you just start looking up. And also too, like even though I don't eat, the only fruit that I eat are berries. Berries have carbs. You do not need a lot of carbs to survive at all. And in fact, carnivores would tell you, apparently you don't need any because their mental health is so good. So we kind of push against that a little bit. But anyway, but yeah, just look things up like in Google. Google the nutritional facts on almost literally everything you're putting into your food. The garlic powder that you're putting on your food probably has carbs because it's a bulb. It's a bulb. And then the last one is liver disease. This is one that I talk about a lot. And again, you guys are just joining in with me on my conversation that's in my or my head. Thank you. You're welcome, Tony. Is in my head because I am like, I think about this stuff because I feel like I felt duped. I felt super duped when I started studying this. I'm like, what are you even talking about? That fatty livers in our children, and 50 years ago, it was only in alcoholics in our country. What are you even talking about? Why is nobody talking about this? I don't understand. Why is nobody sharing this? Why are we as parents not waking up and paying attention so that maybe our daughters aren't having infertility issues? Well, it's because that's not what's on the morning news. It's because it's not what's on the evening news. It's because it's not what's trending. Trending is not getting your kids off of processed foods. I mean, I'm just telling you because the marketing is so strong. The indoctrination is so strong. And we don't know how to stop the cycle. We don't know how to get off of it, right? We just don't know. So I'm going to share with you a couple of things that you can do right now today if you wanted to do something today to help you with a couple of those things. Basically, a lot of the things that they were talking about in this particular article is that, eating processed foods for us, perception is versus reality, what we're being told by marketing, lack of cooking skills. We've kind of lost that art a little tiny bit. Time misconceptions. There's a widespread belief that cooking real food takes longer. It doesn't. It actually doesn't. This is what prompted this today, to be in all honesty. I'm making this recipe for the group today, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And I said to my husband as I was making it, I said, OMG, this tastes so freaking good. Why do we not know how easy this is? Why do we keep buying stuff that's pre-done when this is so easy? And we had this conversation. So the thinking that it takes you longer when it doesn't. Cultural shift, the fast-paced lifestyle and emphasis on productivity has shifted societal norms. Convenience trap, the convenience of processed foods like prepackaged meals and snacks can create a habit that seems hard to break, even though cooking real food can be straightforward and rewarding. Quick and easy meal solutions overshadowing the benefits of cooking real food. Educational gaps, limited education on nutrition and cooking in schools means many people grow up without the knowledge and confidence to prepare healthy meals from scratch. And social proof. People tend to follow what they see in their communities and media. If processed foods are commonly consumed and seen as normal, this reinforces the perception that cooking from scratch is unusual or difficult. Understanding and overcoming these factors can help shift the perception and reality, showing that cooking real food is not only healthier, but also easier and more enjoyable than many believe. And so this conversation I was having with somebody in my messages last night, she just said she's cooking for a lot of people in her world, and she's not much of a cook. And she's like my age. She's like, I just don't really like to cook all that much. So I need things that are fast and easy. And a couple of the things that I recommended to her were this. In the group, if you are already in the Facebook group, go up to the guides or just go up to the search bar and search keto lasagna. And you will find a video where I was teaching the keto lasagna. Anytime you can make a pan of something and have a pan in your fridge, that's the most convenient food you can have on hand, bar none. It's so convenient. A nice huge pan, like the biggest pan you can find. I even have a couple of restaurant size pans or a big roaster pan if you have a big family, or if you need something to last you a long time, or if you need to eat half of it this week and freeze it for another week so you can get a week off, right? Keto lasagna is made with, instead of noodles, it's all of the amazingness, but it's using sliced deli chicken breast, which that was a tip that comes from Maria Emmerich. I have a lot of her cookbooks. I was going to pull them down today, but I decided not to. But she gives such really good tips like that. On my, I don't think it's on my Facebook personal page. In fact, I know it's not. But like on my TikTok and my Instagram, I did a reel on making those homemade baked Cheetos. And she makes, this is a Maria Emmerich tip, she's such a genius. And it's made out of egg whites and cream of tartar that you are whipping up like with your immersion blender. And then you are using frozen shredded cheddar cheese, and then you're piping it onto parchment paper. That's a little more tedious, but the point being that it's all real ingredients, and it's super basic, and it's something that you can use to replace and or teach your kids to do. Okay. I do a lot of sugar substitutes, Sandy. Let me chat about that for just a second. I will do that. The second pan that I would recommend is have an egg bake in your fridge. Have an egg bake. You can take equal amounts of eggs to cream cheese ounces. If you're doing dairy, sometimes dairy can stall your weight loss, but let's just go with this for a second. You can take equal amounts of eggs and cream cheese ounces, whip it up in your blender or use an immersion blender or whatever, your KitchenAid, and then put inside of a pan whatever you want inside of your egg bake. Maybe it's crumbled bacon, crumbled sausage, green peppers, onions. I don't know. I don't know what you like. Mushrooms, doesn't matter. Cheese, put it all in there, and then literally just pour that on top and stick it in your oven and cook it at, like, let's say 400 until you stick a knife in the middle and it's done. Super easy, but then you have breakfast on the go fast, just like this, and it's straight protein. And so you can grab that super easily. Here, let me show you what I made now for the group today, and then I'm going to teach it. I always make one round, so I'm going to just repeat this. At the beginning of every single month, I do a 5-day challenge. It's a 4-day this month. It might be a 4-day the next couple of months. Doesn't matter. Blah, blah, blah. I do this challenge so that you can get some ingredient trade outs, get some pantry ideas. Yesterday, we went into my pantry, my refrigerator, and my supplement cupboard, and I showed you exactly what my life looks like reveal, nothing hidden, so that you can see exactly what I do, right? Then, now today I'm going to make a recipe, and this is to help you to be able to do what I needed help with all of those years ago, I started about 8 years ago, so that you can have a visual on maybe how to shift something out super easily. So, and then take down that month, right? So like we're going to crush the month of June. We're going to wrap up today, and you're going to be able to crush the month of June. And then I'm going to do another one in July. And then you're going to crush the month of July. And then we're going to do another one in August. And then we're going to crush the month of August. And you're going to rack up your months one at a time, at a time, at a time. And pretty soon you'll see how that is. There's a compound effect. Good book, by the way, a compound effect to being able to have victory and success in no matter what you're doing. But we're talking about switching out foods and reversing insulin resistance. And it goes to the same thing with supplementation. For all of you that are using the trio, which are the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity, that's where all the testimonies start. Doesn't mean we don't layer other things, but that's where they all start. Same thing. Take it 1 month at a time, nail that month, and then get going on another month, and then nail, because we might not have the discipline of the routine, right? It takes time to get ourselves into routines or to really combat routines that we have been used to for a really long time. So I'm heading out of town tomorrow, and I'm going on a road trip. We're going to go to headquarters of our business. And I'm so excited. I'm just so excited. It's going to be about a 9-hour road trip with some really good friends. And so it's all about laughter and fun and food. But I wanted to have some snacks on hand, right? So some of you might be going on road trips this summer. You might be going camping. You might be going to, whatever. It doesn't matter. You might be going on an airplane somewhere, and you don't want to eat the pretzels that they're offering you or whatever. Most everything is just silliness of whatever. Does the trio come? It does. Tony's asking if it comes in liquid form. You can't take a pill form due to digestive issues. It isn't, Tony. I'm sorry. That would be a really good idea, though. That would be a very good idea. So talking, Sandy, about sugar substitute. This is homemade granola, and it does have a sugar substitute in it. I have to hold this up for Facebook. I thought I had it so that you guys could see me better. Let me see here. Put this down just a little bit so you can see better, a little bit. So this is homemade granola, and this is what she had me do. Now, this is coming from All Day I Dream About Food. All Day I Dream About Food. That is a blog of this lady who does a lot of keto cooking. And I grab things from her when I'm looking for something kind of sweet oftentimes, or something that is, something dessert-like. I'll grab it from her because they're so good. Like, that's her wheelhouse. I made a coconut cream pie for Easter that was gone. It was gone. And it used sweetener, natural sweetener. So the sweeteners that I talk about, especially in the group, erythritol, stevia, monk fruit, and allulose. and the reasons why. I did a live on it recently. If you look back on some of my content, if you're on IG, Facebook, I talked and I showed you the bags of those. Anyway, this has in it Swerve brown sugar and powdered erythritol monk fruit, because that's what I had on hand. So powdered Lakanto was the brand name of that. And butter and vanilla. And then the granola parts are this. And I got everything at Walmart. Everything is at Walmart, so that you guys can, I want you to hear that from me, because there are no barriers anymore. The barriers don't exist to being able to shift. Okay. So this is unsweetened coconut flakes, pecans, just raw, whatever, pecans with nothing on them, like in the baking aisle, sliced almonds, pumpkin seeds. What else do I have in here? Oh man, do you know what I forgot to put in here? The chocolate chips. I can't forget that when I'm on my live today in the Facebook group. I can't forget that. The recipe is on All Day I Dream About Food. I don't have it like it's because I'm using all of my devices. So All Day I Dream About Food, and just put in granola, keto granola. And it's basically you're taking, and think about anything that you would want to add in there. So I love the fact that this is basically, I'll try to remember it here. Hold on. I mean, I'm just going to try to pull it out of my brain. 1 cup of pecans, 1 cup of unsweetened coconut, a 1/2 cup of pumpkin seeds, a 1/2 cup of sliced almonds. And then on the stove, you're putting 3/4 cups of butter, a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, a 1/4 cup of powdered sweetener, melting it all together, adding in vanilla at the end. I know this isn't helpful for TikTok because you guys are not going to be able to pause the replay. Mix it all together. And basically you take everything, you kind of put it in your food processor at the beginning to make it like little chunks so that not everything is big. That took 2 seconds just to make it smaller. If you care, maybe you don't care. And then you just mix that butter sweetener mixture all together. I added cinnamon, and you're laying it on this parchment paper and you're putting it in the oven at 300 degrees. You put another piece of parchment on top and you press down, stick it in the oven at 300 degrees for 25 minutes. Take it out, let it completely cool. It was still movable and wet when I took it out. So I had to let it cool. So now here I am, because I talked to you guys for so long, which was my goal. Now it's more solid like this, but I can see it's breaking apart now. So now what I can do, oh, you can't, not everybody can see this. Now I can take this, and I've got these pieces. You see, oofta. Show you what this looks like. And that's using Swerve brown sugar. I mean, honestly, you guys, it took me 10 minutes to open up my packages from Walmart, mix them up in my little hand thing that whatever, and you don't even have to. If you don't care, you can buy the pecan pieces already done. Throw something on the stove and put this in the oven. It was so easy. And instead what happens is we end up going to, and the reason why I did this was because I was at do you ever go to Marshall's or Home Goods? And they have all of those aisles of like food. And they've got these mixtures of like nuts and berries, and the energy mix that in little packets, or the omega mix in these little packets. And sometimes every once in a while they'll have a keto mix. I don't buy it very often, but if I'm going out of town, I'm thinking, maybe I would do that, right? Well, they had nothing. Everything either had dried cranberries in it, dried raisins in it, had sugar in it, had whatever. And I'm like, well, there's nothing here for me. By doing it myself, now I'm going to be able to break this up into whatever chunks I want, and I'll have this in baggies in the car. This is something I can't keep on hand all the time. I would personally not have this in a Tupperware in my home, because I will eat it all day long. because I love sweet things. But nuts will stall your weight loss. This is very high carb right here in terms of nuts, coconut, pumpkin seeds, everything in here has carbohydrates. Now it's lower because there's no grain. Notice there's no grain. There's no oatmeal. There's no flaxseed. There's no nothing. It is literally just what I said, some nuts, and it is so delicious. I'll do it. You're welcome. Yeah. All day I dream about food. Write that down. All day I dream about food. Look up her keto granola. That's where I got this from. She also has really good recipes. This is a really good resource for you guys to know where to go to find people who are doing it really well. Maria Emmerich, EMMERICH, is another really good resource for ingredient trade outs. Another really good place. I know, Tony. Yeah. Can I post the recipe? Tony, I could, technically I could come back on Facebook and I could post it on Facebook. In fact, what I can do on Facebook is I can find the article and I can put it in the comments. That I can do. I can't even do that on IG because I can't put a clickable link. But anyway, so I just wanted to share that with you. If you're not in the group, it's called Ditch Insulin. You're welcome. Resistance for Women. Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. Today is the last day of the challenge for this month. However, you can still watch the replays. Get in there. When you get in there, at some point, Grammy Gloria, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And thank you for the follow. And when you get in there, it might not happen right away because I have a lot of people getting in there right now. You will get tagged in a PDF, and that PDF has some recipes in it, and it has some pantry ideas to get you started. And then we also will talk about targeted supplementation. So if you need your timeline to be condensed, if you need to go a little faster in turning things around, it's exactly how I started. I started with 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. If you need to know about those so that you can get started right away on turning things back around, you can either put Trio in the comments on Facebook, or you can message me on Instagram, or TikTok. You have to go up to my face and get to my page, get to my profile, and you can message me there with your phone because there's a number there that you can text me at. And there's also a link. So my first and last name, KirstenLiebelt.com, is the site. And on there is testimonies. There's a testimonial reel of the trios so that you can get your hopes up. There are even more testimonies on Instagram. There's a pink highlight bubble at the top of the page. There's even more there because I'm putting them in my stories and then I'm dumping them into the highlight bubble. And that reel that's on my website is not the most current of all the testimonies. But I want people to be encouraged. What if it's easier than you think it is? What if it's more simplistic than you think it is? What if this is not the most mountainous terminal diagnosis you've ever had, which it's not? Like, we just have a lot of confusion because we have a lot of marketing. But what if filling in nutritional deficiencies and learning how to trade out your food can get you into a completely different space by the end of the year? Just what if? So you can always reach out to me. You can always just go to my site if you want to. If you don't want to talk to me at all, that's okay. KirstenLiebelt.com. You can go there and you can look for yourself. Second button has the testimonies and and it has all 3 in one cart. So you can just look at it for yourself. You can know exactly what I'm talking about. Which powdered sweetness did I use in this? I actually used thanks for following. JRJ3152. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, Janice, for following. This one was a Lakanto erythritol monk fruit powdered mixed with brown sugar swerve and then butter. That's what that was. I know, Tony, but I don't make the products. But you know what? That is actually, you know what's really interesting is that I'm actually going to I'm going to be talking to, oh, Jackie, I love you so much. When my live is done, your message will go away. And I forget to tell you that on Instagram. So I either need to have you like DM me, like message me in my messages right there on IG, or go to my site. But either way, I would, and there's a number there that you can text me at. It says right at the top, text me, because you can ask me questions or whatever if you have them. But if you just want to go look at the cart, you can go look at the cart. I'm actually going to headquarters this next week of the company. And I believe I'm having an opportunity to maybe ask some questions to some of the scientists. So you know what? I'm going to ask them that question. Thank you for saying that, because I'm going to put that in the notes on my phone, because that is a really good conversation, because you're not the only one. There are actually a lot of people who have had bariatric surgery also that have a really hard time taking pills, and they have to take special formulations. And those I end up talking to. Hello, Melissa. It's good to see you too. I just mailed you this morning samples of the probiotic sticks. So in the mail, ready for you, so that we can see what we can do for your gut. So anyway, but I'm really excited that I get to actually do that, because I do have a lot of people reach out to me that a lot. I mean, I shouldn't say a lot. In comparison, it's not a lot. But for me, it has been, because it's not my wheelhouse. Bariatric surgery is not my wheelhouse. But I just do know that there are digestive issues. You're welcome, Melissa. I really want those to help you. I want to see what we can do in 5 days, what kind of a difference we can make. So thank you for the gift. You're so sweet. You're so nice. Oh, you sent a rose. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you. Thank you. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm actually going to go get ready to go do this live in the group to show how to do it. And I'm telling you, this is so much easier than you think it is, you guys. All I did was I went to the baking aisle and I grabbed some ingredients, and I came home and I whipped this up so fast. And now I have homemade granola for my road trip, and it tastes amazing, and it's sugar-free. Like, it's good. It's good to be able to get a few tools in your toolbox. Jump in the group if you need to be in the group. Ditch insulin resistance for women. If you need to know about the trio or any supplement that you're looking to trade out, whether it's a fish oil or a vitamin D or a probiotic or an ashwagandha or a turmeric, let me know, will you? I would love to be able to help serve you in that way, and help to be able to help you streamline what it is that you're taking, so that you're not taking what you don't need, but you are getting exactly what you do need. And I went, oh, thanks. Join my team. You're so awesome. Because the truth is that, you know what? You don't want to take condensed plants or ingredients that are not organic or off of organic farms or whatever, or third-party tested. You really don't want to be doing that. Don't be messing up your gut even further. So let's go forward, not backward. Reach out if you need anything. Have a super blessed day, you guys. Thank you, Melissa. You're amazing. Have a good day. KirstenLiebelt.com. That's where you can go look at things, or look at the number at the top. It'll say text me. So I'll see you guys later. Bye. All right. See you later, Melissa. Hopefully you can make it in the group live, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. There we go. All right. See you later. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Thank you.